like this is a session on Salesforce Business Analyst. So before we jumping on to the profile of a business analyst, let me give you a very high level overview on what is Salesforce. Okay. So,
Okay.
Salesforce is an application that supports business, that backs up business, that adds revenue to business. That is what Salesforce is. So, let me walk you through a scenario. Consider I'm a business owner. As a business owner, I want to sell either my product or service to customer. Okay, to
Fine.
people
Yeah.
basically. So here I need a system in order to just manage and collaborate with my customer, or to find new customer, or to know how my business is finding a potential customer, right? Like we have, if
Mhm.
we consider Indian population, we are like around 110 crores. Like we have to find the customer for our product. So Salesforce helps us to know how we are finding a customer for our product, and how the sales team is actually pushing the product to the people, and we can maintain the data of the existing customer and the customer interaction. Example, a customer might have shown an interest on particular product in my website. Then my sales
Mm-hmm.
person would be reaching out to that particular customer, and like will just to understand the pulse of that particular customer on our product. So then you might have two or three follow-up sessions before selling a product. So he has to provide a quote, just convince them on the product. No, nowadays customers are very smart. They compare it with the competitor product. So you do all the selling activity. So all that sequence of the sales cadence would be tracked in this system. Clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Yeah. So with this all data, we can perform the analytics activities and gather the insights. With this helps me to make decisions to grow my business. So this is how Salesforce backs up a business.
Yeah.
As I was saying, this is how the Salesforce is backing up the business. So when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about somewhat technically, we call it as it's a cloud-based database. They call it as customer relationship management. It is basically how we establish the relationship and maintain the relationship with our customer. Clear?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
as I said, Salesforce is a database. So consider we here in Salesforce we have something called objects, which are nothing but the table in the database. Okay. And we do have records and fields. Record is the entry of every customer or the product, wherein field is the values that you wanted to capture regarding a customer. Maybe the customer's name, the address, the phone number, the email ID. All these are referred to as fields. Clear? Let me as you see on the left side of the screen, you could see the number of products that are offered by Salesforce. But just to give you an
Mm.
idea on the product, so the very first item is sales, right? So as we are talking about the business and pushing the product to the customer, we have Sales Cloud, a Salesforce product called Sales Cloud. What will happen is that you will first onboard your customer, right? And then find their
Okay.
contact information, and then you will understand their pulse on which product they have interest, their interested product that we can push for selling, and then we'll provide them with a quotation, and they might ask for a
Mm-hmm.
discount. We'll come back, revisit our quotation and revise it and provide it to them, and then they make a decision of buying our product. All this
Yeah.
would be handled in a product called sales.
Okay.
Yeah. And when we talk about service, it's
This
always
is.
after sales, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, after sales activity. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
have sold a product. Say for example, you sold a laptop, and there is some issue
Mm-hmm.
with the laptop, and customer has to reach you, right? In today's world, we cannot like customer or our bosses for every business, right? So we cannot tell customer that you
Mm-hmm.
come and state your issue in the system. A customer can raise their issue anywhere. It could be a social media like LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, or they could send you an email, right? There are multiple channels through which the customer can contact you. So with all this channel being integrated into one system and convert the customer query into a case, the actual service ticket, that, and then the service agent would be picking up that ticket and resolving the issues, getting back to the customer. So this is all this activity would be carried out in an product called Service Cloud. Is this clear?
So yeah.
Okay. And you have something called marketing. So on the marketing, it's about we have a product, we have to find customer, right? Finding the
Mm-hmm.
customer would be done by the marketing cloud application. Meaning, I have a software being developed. Maybe IBM develops a software, and they will call every other MNC like Accenture, HCL, TCS, Deloitte, Fargo. Everybody they will invite, and will conduct a conference and just show a demo of their particular product. With this, maybe two companies out of, may say for example HCL and Deloitte, may get converted into a lead, or they can show interest on that particular software. So then that person would be somebody who is showing interest on our product would be converted as a lead. So we got a lead. So there is a potential chance that we can convert that particular person into our customer, right? So all this
Yeah.
activity would be performed in an application called Marketing Cloud. Likewise, we
Marketing.
have others like Commerce, Tableau, Mullusoft, Slag, Net Zero, Industries, Partners, Success. Everything serves different purposes. So, based on our organization's business process or need, we have to choose the appropriate product. Is this clear?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So, to talk more about Salesforce org as an org, it offers this many components. The very first thing is database management, meaning I have to create and maintain the data of my customers. I could maintain the data of my products, and I could maintain the data of the orders that I am processing, the billing activities that I am doing. Everything as a database, I can store the information. That is all about database management. And the second one is activity control. Who can do what activity? As I was stating earlier, marketing user are meant only to create leads, wherein sales user are meant to only do quotations and sales activities. And then service users are only meant to deal with cases and entitlements, right? So this would decide, like if you are a sales user, if Renuka is a sales user, she can just work around the quotation and selling, wherein
Mm-hmm.
Chandan is somebody who works as a service agent. He could only access cases. So that is the activity control, like who has what access. Yeah.
Okay.
This goes hand in hand, both the activity control and secured accessibility. What you can do on that particular object is activity control. What you can access is called secured accessibility. Meaning, if a sales agent, a sales employee can submit and record or account for approval, only HOD can approve it. That is the level of activity. So I can only in a position to submit an approval process, wherein HOD only has a privilege to approve or reject it. Right. So that is activity
Okay.
control, and who can access what is secured accessibility. And then sales forecasting. So with maintaining all this data in the database regarding your client, order, product, you would able to get some insights, right? It's like which is the best selling product, how much revenue I make out of it, what is the turnaround time to for a particular salesperson to sell that particular product. With all this forecast, I can define the KPIs and metrics for my sales and service teams. So
Okay.
say for example, I'm selling shoes, and the turnaround time to sell three shoes is 5 days. So I have this insight. So going forward, and I wanted to improve my business right here, so I will be defining the KPI as the turnaround time should be 4 days in order to sell three shoes. So this is how we can define the KPIs for our salespeople, right?
Right.
Okay. And the next one is employee tracking. Employee tracking is that we have Salesforce as an org. As I said, we have marketing user, sales user, service user, your support team, or your development team. Everybody would have access, right? So who does
Mm-hmm.
what? Who creates, like Renuka is creating an account called Singapore Telecommunications Limited, and Chandan is just uploading a document to that particular record. All this would be tracked in employee tracking. This is mainly, it is important for audit purposes. When you work for very big organizations, they have clear principles and policies on auditing. So we should have the logs regarding who has done what. So basically an audit log, who has did what, like if you have updated a particular field, it would be like this person like Renuka has updated this particular field called revenue. The value was 1000 rupees before and she updated that to 1200. So somebody maybe after some time somebody is coming and to looking into that, they should be able to understand because of this reason they have updated the revenue from this value to this, and this person has reviewed it. So basically for the purpose of audit. Is this clear?
Yeah, clear. It's
Okay.
employee tracking, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like what are the
Yeah.
activities that they perform? Yeah. And
Hmm.
then workflow management. So as I said, approval. It could be I can automate the approval process, or I can define the path for my sales cadence. Meaning, when a new lead is created, I have to just have an initial call with that particular customer and to know the pulse. Like some customer would have high interest, wherein the chance of likelihood or probability of conversion of that particular client would be 90%, where somebody just they would have come across an ad in Facebook and they would have logged a interest in your website, so their likelihood is 10 percentage. They are not somebody who's potential to get converted as a customer, right? It's not a potential lead. So all this
Hmm.
management, like if this based on the likelihood, it has to traverse this many steps, and then you have to set up a second follow up session with them in order to get this information, or in order to provide this particular quotation, or to collect this set of documents. So all this comes under workflow management. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we'll jump into what is business analysis and who is a business analyst. Okay. So, what is
Mhm.
business analysis? It is one thing we have to be clear as a business analyst is that we should not touch the business process. There are people who know sales very well. They have defined a
Mhm.
process. We are not going to touch the business process. All our work is to, our duty or responsibility is to just understand the pain point or the area of improvement on that particular business process. Meaning, we'll take the example of the approval process itself. So I'm a salesperson. I got a lead. I prepared a quotation. Okay. So I have to send it uh, to my HOD in order to get it approved. So I have to draft a long email. The same content I have to draft for n number of quotations, right? So I'll draft, I'll send it out to my HOD. He will review it, he will approve it, and then he will send it for finance team. The second level of approval, they have to review it, they have to approve it. After that, it has to come to you. So it is a pain point of that salesperson to draft all this and to just track the entire response in an email. It's really a difficult task, right?
Yeah.
So here, why can't we automate this process? This why will come from a business analyst. So they would be okay. Then they will be explaining us the entire business process. That is, the first level of quotation would be created by the salesperson, and the second first level of approval would be provided by HOD, and the second level of fine approval would be provided by finance. So we will entirely automate this process. So that is what that is what is business analysis, right? I have a pain point identified. I draft it into a particular requirement. I structure it in a, presentable manner. That we call it as requirement. And for that, I will recommend some solution. The solution that we recommended is that we suggested of automating that particular process. That is the solution we recommended. So once after implementation of that particular solution, your stakeholder would be now will have some leisure time. He will not have more pain, or he will not be having any hurdle, right?
Yeah.
You We made that process efficient. So that's the job of business analysis. Anything that we do should add value to a stakeholder. Is this clear?
Yeah, clear.
Yeah. And if you were noticing this particular picture, you could able to see like business analyst is a bridge between an IT people, basically the implementation team and the stakeholders. So here,
Yeah.
in my perspective, everybody here is a stakeholder. BA is a stakeholder, right? Who's a
Yeah.
stakeholder? Anybody who we collaborate, or anybody who involved in the process of implementation or business is called a stakeholder. So BA itself a stakeholder right here, And then the IT professionals, the implementation team. So can you list out who are the who would be the stakeholders in the implementation team?
Yeah, I can clearly get it.
Okay. So in the implementation team, you will have a developer, right? And then you will have a QA person who performs the testing. And then an
Mhm.
implementation SME, basically the technical architect who would do the solution design or architecture for that particular solution. Likewise, on the
Okay.
business side, we have domain SMEs. Domain SME would give you a clear picture on what is your business processes. And you have
Okay.
end users and customers to understand the pain points from, because they are the people who working on the system on a day-to-day basis. Clear?
Clear. Clear.
Yeah. And the designation business analyst is called with different names in different industries. Let me list out few. One is business
Hmm.
architect, the other one is data analyst, and the another one is process analyst, and more like product owner, project manager, requirement engineer. So these are the various name given to a business analyst in that in the industry. Yeah.
Okay.
And moving on to, so how a business analyst approach a project, how they gather the requirement, how they give it a structure, how they
Just give me
explain
a
into
second.
an implementation. Yeah, yeah,
Just give me a second.
yeah.
Yes, please continue.
Okay. So you or me being a business analyst will get a scope, uh, will get the scope on the requirement itself. So like, say for example, I wanted to convert my local CRM into Salesforce CRM or Microsoft CRM or Zoho CRM. That is my one liner. So I know the scope within this, right? Here I have to convert from the traditional CRM's local system that used by business into Salesforce CRM, right?
Right.
So I have this. Then I'll go talk to my stakeholders and elicitate further more requirement. Like, what do you want first? Do you want to onboard a client first? And then do you want them to have an opportunity being created for the potential customers? And then do you want them to provide a quote? So all this process we will be getting the business process, we get it from elicitate it from our business users. So as a business analyst, in order to elicitate all this information, we use certain techniques like workshops. Say for example, mm, you are just claiming for an insurance, then the claims team would
Mhm.
be responsible, right? Anything that I have to automate or make changes to the claims process, I have to involve the entire claims team, maybe 20 to 30 people I have to involve. So at that point, I choose a technique called workshops, wherein if I were to
Oh,
talk only with one people like CEO or HOD, then I use a technique called interview. Or there would be some cases where the requirement would be so unclear for the business users itself. At that point, we can conduct a session called brainstorming. In few things will not be known to the stakeholders, and but it would be well documented. At that point, we do something called document analysis. So these are the various techniques we use just to based on the requirement of the business users. Clear?
clear.
Yeah. So we will ask them to explain the business process. We'll capture it. We'll record all the responses that they provided us, and then we will be throwing them the questions, the queries on that process, and they would
Mhm.
respond us back. We'll record everything, and we document into a requirement based on the methodology that you choose, be it be waterfall or agile. We will structure it with respect to that particular methodology, either as a business requirement document or a backlog. Yeah. So then
Yeah. So we'll
we have to
totally convert the requirement to the CRM, right?
no, they have explained you everything. We just do a document. We'll just prepare a document.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Okay, we give it a structure, segment it, categorize it. This should come under this feature. This should come under this feature. You have to just categorize it. Okay, and you have to
Understood.
send
Understood.
it to send it to the stakeholders. They will review it and give you a confirmation. So once you got that confirmation, you would be starting working on the PBIs or user stories, meaning this particular function, this particular story will help you
Mhm.
implement a feature. So as I said, it's about client onboarding. So this feature should have a button right here. Upon the click of this button, user should get a pop-up screen. That screen should have this many fields, and the data type of this field is this, and user should be able to key in the data. And upon the click of the set, a new entry needs to be created. This is how you write an user story.
Okay,
So
understood.
once that is done, we have to again give it to the stakeholders. They review it and they provide sign off on your user stories or the PBIs. So once you get the
Got
sign off, you have to give it to the development team. They will develop it, and then QA activity will happen. Both the module level testing will happen and the regression testing will happen, and then finally UAT. You have to prepare the user training materials and you have to train the user as the business analyst. Yeah.
Okay.
So, with this cycle, you would have understood now BA is not only with related to the requirements, who is responsible for gathering the requirement. They would be providing the hand holding throughout the software development life cycle. So, they get the requirement, they explain it to dev, and then if any questions or queries from the QA, they would address it. And then on the UAT, we provide test cases for the business unit to business users to perform the testing, and then once the UAT is done, we are responsible to get that sign off. Finally, we'll hand over that to release team. So we are involved in the entire software development life cycle, right? Clear? Am I audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, Renuka, you are audible.
Okay, there might be some issue with Chandan's.
Yeah, right.
So this is what a business analyst do as a very big picture. And I wanted to give you some more insights on the certification that is offered by Salesforce. So that is called Salesforce Business Analyst certification. So you would be having 60 questions, and the duration for that particular exam is around 105 minutes, and the passing score is 72%. And the fee that they collect is 200 USD plus taxes. And the various topics that they have is customer discovery, to discover who are your customers or stakeholders, and collaboration with stakeholder, like how you collaborate with the stakeholder, how you establish the relationship, how you communicate, how you collaborate. And the third one is business process mapping, to understand the existing process and to recommend a solution, do it in a flow chart manner. That is what is business process mapping. And requirement gathering, it's just getting the understanding of their business process. And then the user stories, which we provide them to implement, and user acceptance, that is the user acceptance testing, UAT, like your business users would accept the solution that you have developed. So these are the areas
Okay.
in which from which you will be getting the questions for the certification exams. Is this clear?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
clear.
And finally, just to summarize the roles and responsibilities of a business analyst, it is a project management role. So
Mhm.
basically, into the project management, we are not into the implementation, but we provide the hand holding on the implementation side. Okay. So we elicitate
Okay.
and document the requirements. We write the user stories. We analyze the data and provide the insights. We manage the Salesforce project. We create and deliver the business presentation. So once the solution has been developed, I have to show the demo to my business users, right, on the
Mm.
user journey. And
Mhm.
managing and analyzing the implementation, how it can be done, how we can improve the process, in what way it could be implemented, everything. And then create user training materials, basically the user guide, and solve issues
Okay.
during testing. Like ideally people say that a business analyst will gather all the requirement before the start of the project, but practically it is not the case. Whoever the VA, even with the 25 or 30 years of industry experience, all that they can gather is around 70 to 75 percentage of the requirement. So as you go through
Yeah.
the stages of development and QA, you will groom your solution itself. So there we'll have the we'll be having the tweaks on the requirement itself. And then that is what is solving the issues. They might write like this in this section, the process is running at the background. User might might need to see a toast message on the screen, so that they would be aware that some process is running at the background from the user's perspective. Like this is an issue, then BA has to go intervene and tell them like, wait, okay, we can have, and you can put the message in this format, and it should look like this in the UI. All this would be done by us. And as I said
Okay.
before, we would be involving in understanding the current business processes and documents in the development. So this is
Got.
what is the roles and responsibility and a duty of a business analyst to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Is everything clear? If you have any questions, you can shoot that to me.
No, no, everything is clear.
Okay. Just to give you more insight on the upcoming sessions, we would be covering a few things in the upcoming session, like the key concept of business analysis, meaning the frameworks, the key terms, the type of requirement, who would be the stakeholder involved, how we identify the stakeholder, and the planning and
Mhm.
governance, the approach of a particular project, what are the governance measures that we have to follow, BA information management, and then we'll talk about elicitation, requirement lifecycle management, modeling of a requirement, and the various techniques that we use in order to model it, and then the backlog management. And mostly industry is using for a development project nowadays. Most of almost 70% of the development project runs on agile methodology, and what they choose is basically Scrum. So we'll be walking you through the Scrum framework. And apart from this, we could practically do the hands-ons on the creation of a backlog, and we could explore few tools like Jira, ADO, Figma, Balsamic, Visio. Apart from that, yeah, we'll walk you through the UAT activities and the project closure, like how we have actually need to close a project.